First, we have the cerebral cortex, which is the outer side of the brain, and it has 4 lobes: the frontal lobe, temporal lobe, parietal lobe, and occipital lobe, which you'll be hearing about. Now we have the cerebrum, which is in charge of reasoning, emotions, learning, and fine control movements. You can find it has both the right hemisphere and the left hemisphere. Without it, you wouldn't have your senses. Now we have the amygdala, or whatever it's pronounced, and it's involved in experiencing of emotions. Now we have the medulla with involuntary movements and functions, which are things that you don't constantly think of, such as blood pressure and breathing. Now the hippocampus, which helps store long-term memories. The hypothalamus helps mainly for motivational behavior. This is the reason why we know we're hungry or thirsty. It also helps regulate body's temperature and plays a key role in connecting the endocrine system with the nervous system. This part of the brain controls the pituitary gland also. Now for the pons, it serves as a message station between several areas of the brain. It helps relay messages from the cortex and the cerebellum. Without the pons, the brain would not be able to function properly because messages would not be able to be transmitted or passed along. The right hemisphere plays a large part in interpreting visual information and spatial processing. This is like seeing a person frown and understanding that they're upset. The left hemisphere of the brain is responsible for language and speech. The occipital lobe is the area involved with the brain's ability to recognize objects. It is responsible for our vision. The temporal lobe is responsible for hearing, memory, meaning, and language. They also play a role in emotion and learning. The temporal lobes are concerned with interpreting and processing auditory stimuli. The parietal lobes are connected with the processing of nerve impulses related to the senses, such as touch, pain, taste, pressure, and temperature. They also have language functions. The frontal lobe deals with emotions, reasoning, planning, movement, and parts of speech. It is also involved in other things such as creativity, judgment, and problem solving and planning. Broca's area is the region in the frontal lobe of the dominant hemisphere, usually the left of the hominoid brain, with functions linked to speech production. You may hear of Broca's aphasia, where someone can't produce any speech in the order that others may think of it. The longitudinal fissure is the long, deep groove that separates the 2 vertebrae of the brain. It is also known as the cerebral fissure, but they have the same function to the brain. Without it, the brain wouldn't be separate into 2 parts, and both parts wouldn't be able to fully control what they need to control. You may have heard of Wernicke's aphasia, and that makes it so that the comprehension of speech is unattainable. So they can't understand it because there's something wrong with their Wernicke's area. The cerebellum is for control of balance, posture, and coordination, and the corpus callosum connects right brain and left brain. The thalamus is responsible for relaying information from sensory receptors, and the reticular formation goes through the medulla, pons, and ends midbrain. Its functions are motor control, sensory control, visceral control, and consciousness control.